Hi everyone, it's Dean from Mental Health Open Discussions here. Like I promised everyone, we're going to be bringing in a partner here. This is Bailey. He's 19 years old. Hi. Hello. Bailey. Bailey comes to us here. He wants to talk about our youth at risk. He comes here with his own experiences, and when I met him, he was telling me this, and I thought this would be a really great fit for many of you, especially our at-risk youth, and even for the parents. Bailey comes with a lot of knowledge and experience, and I'm really happy to join him, have him join us. So welcome, Bailey.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Now, do you mind kind of letting us know a little bit about you, like where you come from? And
yeah, I came from Northern Ontario. I grew up there. Spent a lot of time just living with my grandmother, living with my mom. You know, life wasn't all that easy. We moved around a lot, at least once a year. We spent a lot of time just trying to get by, living paycheck to paycheck. My mom would work stupid hours just to keep a roof over my head. And everything was pretty good out there. My mom ended up getting a boyfriend. And one day she came up to me and she's like, "We're moving to Kelowna." And I'm like, "Oh!" So we moved to Kelowna for that boyfriend at the time. I'm not naming any names, but the way it went was, it was good at first. We were all having a good time. We were living life. We were just having a blast. Well, about 6 months into the relationship, the way it came to me was that he couldn't handle my attitude. He couldn't handle me because I'm so different from his kids. And so he left. And, you know, me and my mom sat there and we're like, well, now what? So over the course of time, we ended up moving from the house that we moved here. We moved to a place up in Glenmore. I lived there for about a year. And while we were living there, I went through some really, really aggressively tough bullying times. I was getting pushed around. I was getting told like I'm not worth anything. I was getting told that I'm nothing.
That's interesting. Sorry to cut you off with that, Bailey. So you experienced a lot of bullying in your life, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Can you kind of maybe tell us a little bit about the impact bullying had on you, maybe why you were bullied?
Honestly, I don't know why I was bullied. I was always just a kid that kept to myself. I never picked on anybody, but a lot of it was because I wasn't what they would call in the schools tough, right? I was the soft kid that didn't fight, didn't lip off. I was there to do what I had to do. That's what I was there for. But these kids, this one person in particular was picking on me so much that it got to a point where I went home, looked at my mom and said, "I need to move schools next year." And
did you ever come across during that time feelings of suicide?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's when everything started. Everything started in grade 7. I started thinking about cutting myself. I started thinking about suicide. I started getting really depressed. It was not pretty. It was ridiculous.
Did you find that you got into what a lot of at-risk youth turn to, which is drugs and alcohol, to kind of ease that for you?
I definitely smoked a lot of weed at the time, yeah. I was a big pothead. I was getting baked constantly. If somebody brought liquor over, I would binge. I would not stop until it was all gone. It wasn't pretty.
So, you know, sorry, Bailey, I kind of want to touch, I know bullying right now is a huge thing. And more so that parents are not really educated on it. They don't understand what their kids are going through. And this is why I really looked up to you for this, because I know we've personally had a great relationship and we've talked about some of the bullying that you've been through. I'd like to focus on that just a little bit here, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell, and especially for the parents, because I think most kids that are being bullied understand this, but can you let the parents know what were the reasons that you turned? Like, what did the alcohol and drugs do for you that you turned to them to kind of take away that pain that you're feeling?
Honestly, what it was for me was it was just a way for me to escape. It was my escape. It was the way for me to just let loose and just stop caring. It was never, it was because I liked it. It went from just being me trying to have a good time and get my mind off of things to, this works really well and I want to do it more because it works so well. It wasn't because I wanted to, it was because I felt like it was the only way for me to get through it.
And did it help you feel maybe connect with some other, if you felt kind of neglected and not fitting in with the right crowd, did it help you fit in with certain crowds?
Oh, absolutely. That's how a lot of my friendships were built, was because I would drink people under the table. I'd smoke people. I was just that kid that would get to a point where I'd push myself until I puked just to fit in.
Wow. What is now I know, myself, I was picked on too, and I was a bully as well. What I know is that a lot of bullies who are being bullied turn to being a bully themselves. Did you ever come to a point where you started to bully others?
Never.
Never, eh? That's incredible.
I never did that. Luckily, I caught myself before I got to that point. I had a very, very important person that came into my life and just kind of started showing me what was right and what was wrong. When it got to a point where I just about started bullying, my mentor came into my life, and he was a big part of why I am who I am today.
Bailey, I personally know you and you're a personal friend of mine. The one thing when we first met is I looked at your look. I mean, let's be honest. You got the earrings, you got the tattoos, the jacket, be it goth or be it, punk rock or, that crowd that you fit in, right? That stigma. Do you think that because of the way you look with your long hair and all that there could have been a stigma as well or why did you start looking the way, just being different?
Well, it started out as me being a really, really emo kid, as it's put. I had the long hair over my face, I wore all black, I wore the trench coat. I looked like the stereotypical emo kid. All through grade 8 and 9, I was just trying to find who I was. Through that time, that's when I started like really getting into the alcohol, the drugs, and it wasn't who I was.
So did kids pick on you for just looking different?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. People didn't like the fact, they didn't even like my music because I listened to it so loud because I didn't want to hear anybody else talking. I'd start blaring death metal, and I had one kid come up to me, he's like, I don't like your music, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, I didn't care.
Yeah. It's interesting because you're a really big guy, and we're not talking fat here,
yeah. Right?
We're talking, you're a big guy. So I guess size doesn't really matter, eh? When it comes to people bullying you?
Oh, no. God, no. No, it has nothing to do with that. You can be one of the most fit people, have the biggest muscles, and people still pick on you because they find a weakness. That's what they do. They find where your weakness is, and they attack it because it's easy.
Now, in your experience, and I'm really grateful to you for talking. This is the first time I know you've done a video, to get your page and that. So hats off to you. I have the much more respect for you for doing this. I think this is really important because it's a twofold, isn't it? Being bullied and drugs and behavior. Yeah. And so what I want to know, I think you're relating to a lot of kids who are in that situation. I think education needs to fall into the parents as well. So if a parent was to say right now, oh, my kid's got a really good life, he's got money, he dresses in new clothes and that, there's a chance in your mind that he's still probably getting bullied. So how would a family, if you were, just out of your own experience, Bailey, how could have a parent known that you were going through that? What are some of the signs that you give that a parent can look at and say, okay, maybe there's a problem here, maybe I need to look into this a little further?
One big sign is, like, it differs from person to person, like, but for me personally, when my mom started noticing things were off, where I'd start skipping school, or I'd fight to not go to school just because I didn't want to see those people. They'd take me, I would go to school, and like, I wouldn't want to come home because I'd just be depressed. It was always, I'd either not want to leave my house or I wouldn't want to go home. And through that, you start making friends with people that are really bad influences. That was what happened to me. I started hanging out with people that were constantly getting stoned, constantly drinking, and it just was not what I needed. But it was a way for me to feel like I was accepted.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, I know, you know, I've been recently watching that 13 Reasons Why on Netflix.
Yeah.
Which has become quite popular. And, you know, it's interesting because your story is not too far different, except you've got amazing strength and courage to learn and grow from that. Do you think, if, as parents, and I'm a parent too of a kid who's 20 years old, what could we do as parents to intervene? Is there anything when your youth in trouble being bullied that a parent can do to assist, and how could we do that? How do we approach that?
That's a tough one, because you got to be really careful, because you're dealing with other youth. And if a parent comes in, the kid could take it as a threatening way, and then a big court case can break out. But the way that I've dealt with it, because I became the person that would stand up for kids that were being bullied. When I went to high school, I started standing up for what was right. I realized that because no one else is going to do it, somebody has to, and that's why I did it. And you got to be very careful about how you do it. The way I did it was, if I started seeing somebody was bullying somebody else, I wouldn't go in and start bullying them. I'd just step in the middle of it and be like, hey man, like, let's not do this. It's not worth our time, right? And if they started lipping off at me, I didn't take it personally at that point, because the one big thing I learned through my time, and honestly, martial arts taught me a lot about that, is that the reason people do that and the reason people pick on other people is because they're hurting, and all they want is a friend.
See, yeah, it's interesting you said that. This is something that we've been looking at for quite a while when it comes to bullying. We tend to not look at the bully and possibly look at what the bully has been through. And I agree, we need to offer resources and help for the victim so that they don't turn into a bully. What is your take on that? What is your thought on how we approach bullying? Do we look at the bullies as well and offer them the support? What is your take? What is your thought on that?
Honestly, if you want to help a bully out, the first thing you got to do is earn their trust. You have to be able to look at them, and you have to know that they trust you. You can't just go in and start offering them stuff, because all they're gonna do is shut you down. Because they've built such a thick wall between them and all the issues that are going on, that they don't feel it. So what you have to do is you have to break that wall down, and then you can start saying, hey man, like, what's your home life like? Like, what's going on with you? Or if one of my things was, if somebody was feeling really bad and they were like really mad, all I did was offer them a hug, because sometimes that's all a kid needs. That's all they need.
So does your experience tell you then that potentially a bully has probably gone through some issues or been bullied themselves?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because somebody made them feel so small, backed them into a corner, and they just started retaliating, and all that comes from that is they just don't stop, because it works. It keeps people away from them, it keeps people from picking on them, and it works.
You know, everything you're saying, you know, is a lot of things that I've had in my past and my experience, and what I believe in too. And this is why I support you so much on this, Bailey. And I'm so grateful. I'd like to do, you know, this isn't just it. You've got some other experiences that you want to talk about down the road here with drugs and you know, family. I think this is going to be really important. and especially for our viewers.
Yeah.
I know a lot of viewers right now will be watching this and trying to relate it to their child, and I'm so blessed and grateful that you're doing this. What is your next step, Bailey? What are you trying to do now? You're 19. I've been working with you for a while as your friend, getting things going, getting things started. What is your plan now? What is it that you want to do going further?
If I'm being completely honest with you, what I want to do is I want to take my experiences, and I want to take my life, and I want to put it out there, and I want to let people know that they're not alone. I want to tell them that no matter what they're going through, that it does get better. It might not seem like it in the moment, because believe me, it sucks, and it really does. But what I want to do is I want to go to schools, I want to go to churches, I want to go anywhere really I can, and I want to speak about suicide, depression, and addictions.
You know, and we appreciate that. I don't really think, you know, you've gone past the youth mark, but, you know, for me who works with at-risk youth, I see them aging out of the system. And, you know, I've met you through the community a little bit and know quite a bit about you and what you advocate for.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to do this and partner up with you on this, because I think you can bring a lot more fresh to, and I think more so even the parents. You'll hit a lot of youth that are going to say thank you for speaking out on behalf of them. So we want to welcome you to Mental Health Open Discussions. We know you've got a group now started. Can you tell us the name of your group?
Scream Out Youth Support.
Very cool. And what do you offer there? What is kind of your goal with your group?
My goal is I want to build a big, like the way I want to build this is I want to make it a big family, where if somebody comes on and says this is what I'm going through, I want the whole group, the whole family to just come in and lift this person up and let them know that they're not fighting on their own. Because in my experience, when I felt like I was fighting these bullies alone or dealing with my problems alone, it made it that much harder.
Wow. And I also know that you've lost friends. We won't get into that today. That's gonna be for another video. So you're prepared to, you know, maybe once or twice a week together, we can create some videos. I think you're gonna touch a lot of people, Bailey. I don't think a lot of us and a lot of people viewing this realize how serious this is becoming. You know, and I think you're one of the first youth. I know you do a lot of peer mentoring yourself. You're involved with the churches. You know, you're involved with a lot of organizations that speak quite highly of you. So you're very credible in what you're saying. And, you know, clearly we can see it in your face that this is something you're very passionate about. And that's why, you know, here at Mental Health Open Discussions, we want to invite you to be a part of that. You know, it's about passion and empowering people. I know that I have met a few of your friends that have gone through their battles and stuff like that. Are you ultimately trying to get other people involved in ending their silence and creating that safe place for everybody to come and feel empowered?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they want to talk about it and they want to put it out there and voice what they went through, absolutely.
Oh, that's remarkable. Well, I think, Bailey, you know, our time's running out here. We're going to be promoting your page this week, this weekend anyways. I'm going to be posting your videos. I'm going to be connecting you to our group, so all of you can join in. I'll be sending out that information to you. We're really happy to have you part of the family. This is really exciting for us. I would like to, if it's okay with you, maybe the next video we do, maybe talk a little bit more about your personal experience with drugs and suicide and death. I think I think that's gonna be really important. You know, especially with this crisis, I guess that fentanyl and all the overdoses, and you know a lot about that, right? We don't ever want to downplay your experience. That's why you're here, right? So much love to all of you.